Hello, Rebel GMan 10A. Welcome back for another week of recaps. It is, of course, me, FullMetal, and I am joined by a very special guest. It is not Mcnugget, because Mcnugget is sick. So, some might know him as Chug Manmilk, some might know him in the Discord name of Botswana, which is a bit weird. But for the rest of the evening, we're going to refer to him as the totally British Mcnugget stand-in guy.
Yeah, hi, I'm McNugget, but I don't have a Scottish accent. I can't do one. I do an Irish accent, but that's about it.
Well, welcome anyway. Thank you for stepping in and joining us. I'm sure this is going to go smoothly with zero practice or rehearsal whatsoever.
It should, yeah. Thank you for having me, and also, hello, G-Man.
Right, we're going to jump straight into the schedule. I don't know if you have... You can see this because it's your division, of course, so super easy for you to get in the client and have a look. There's some results this week. There's some big results this week.
Yeah, some really big ones. The top one, I think, is one that I watched personally just before the show because I wanted to get a sense of why this happened.
Why exactly did this happen? I think it happened because Wood Elves is the long and the short of it.
Yeah. For just a brief explanation for anyone who's interested who didn't see it, it was kind of... So, Gremzilla was the one who originally was on the offense, but he actually won on the touchdown line, so suddenly the Skaven were in charge. And it should have really, for most of the game, been just him trying to catch up with Yossarian. But the issue is that then Yossarian rolled his own ones on the touchdown line, and it just went absolutely insane in the second half.
Wait, this was all in the second half?
Yeah, it was 1-1 by the second half, so most of the score came in the second half.
Wow. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that is a replay to watch before it disappears. We did we've got a game further down that we said was probably the game of the week, but it turns out this was probably the game to watch. So I'm totally going to see if I can find time in my schedule to check out that replay because that sounds incredible.
It's really fun, and you might think, oh, well, this is going to be also partially a bit of a let's see if Yossarian can completely Kaz the living daylights out of Gremzilla, but it didn't transpire that way at all either, so really tense, really unusual.
Right, fantastic. Now, we knew about the Highland Avengers beating Zamaji Severa. We kind of saw that last week on last week's recap. But needless to say, McNaughton has taken another win and is kind of it was always a bit of a, we knew him, we knew to be scared of him, but he's kind of making himself known now as an actual threat for the plane race, which is kind of impressive given his rocky early start. I'm not going to big him up too much because he's not here, and I don't, if he's going to come back and listen to this, I don't want to, to be an ego trip for him. So that's
you don't praise the machine.
So we'll move on to Crocodile Dundee's, who have had a bit of a rough season, but this is a big win.
Massive win. You don't expect it again against Elves either, because the Skinks are all vulnerable due to the amount of tackle on the Dark Elf team. But then again, now that he has two superstar Sauruses, that's the right plural, I think. Meshuggah definitely has a bit of a threat, and
I suppose if you're in a world where you get to throw 50 blocks against Elves, you got 5 KOs and 3 injuries, so it's not as bad as we maybe thought it was, but that's still 50 blocks. He's going to do some damage, right?
You have to think as well, this is still Armor 8 as well, so, and from the statistics, it looks like with the KOs and the injuries, not a dicing maybe necessarily, but it was still pretty harsh for the poor Dark Elf player.
Absolutely. Now, I didn't see this one, but I heard all about it. We actually got a Helgen victory in the Mark of Nurgle taking on the Damned Horde, and there was a couple of casualties of war in that game as well. On the side of the Damned Horde, took a bit of a piercing. I think it was a White and a Ghoul both got potentially retirable injuries.
Yeah. I kind of caught it. There's one injury that sticks out when I go on the page, but we'll wait to talk about that. But I definitely saw the log there. I thought, that's potentially horrible for poor Hordemaster. Definitely a result as well, considering last recap you said that potentially Hordemaster could be one of the few who
was a threat.
Could threaten the top two. Yeah,
I bet. But that it becomes. This is what it is. You cannot drop games against the bottom of the division when you're if you want to keep that your position as a threat up. And unfortunately, I think that might be enough to push him out of contention.
Yeah. The kind of the leaderboard, I think, has become a little bit more exciting, but definitely it sort of cements the top three of. It's going to be a battle between Muppetillo, McNugget, and
Lewis. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we get on that game next. I actually watched this game, or the majority of this game, and it was very, very silly. Muppet taking on Lewis Jam, and I was just sat there in chat going, "What is going on? Why is this working? Why is this allowed to happen? Why are these Kislev continuing to?" I mean, Lewis burnt all his rerolls in the first half in like 3 turns. And then just carried on regardless, and the Orcs couldn't hurt anything, and then he injured the troll, like the Kislev injured the troll out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it's just nuts.
And also he rolled a blitz, so I kind of wanted to post in the chat when it was happening, like the Dice Lord strikes again, but then that's the issue with Kislev. He couldn't make the final bits of that blitz happen. Like he couldn't tackle someone, get the ball, and then be semi-safe.
Well,
so he could stall it out for 8 turns, but he couldn't have really like scored and then oh god, Orcs have to try and outscore Kislev.
Yeah, it was interesting to me because it kind of made me laugh that we've given him so much grief over the plus movement blitzer, and the plus movement blitzer actually was the reason he actually got to hit the potential ball carrier on the blitz. He got into the back line and got to attack the Orc thrower simply because of the plus movement on his blitzer. Because it was a double GFI, and I was like, oh my god, he's never gonna let me live this down now, is he? If he wins off of the back of this.
Well, that's the thing. I played Kislev quite a lot in CCL and also private leagues, and although you want them to have the fundamental skills first, I don't mind them getting the stat ups and those interesting skills as well, because half the time, what is block compared to getting the chance to hit? And I think that his philosophy here worked out for him, and I think that it's not too crazy. I know you guys may disagree, but I kind of like making sure you have your star pieces have the tools to become stars in the first place. Also, that 8 movement blitzer makes it very useful for shielding 2-turners as well. So I
like it, but I really like block. I really like block. So. But anyway, the final one. I'm sure you can tell us more about this because it's just a 2-0 on my screen. I didn't see this game, but you might know a bit more about what happened between the Galat Death Rips and maybe.
Oh yeah, I was privy to that game a bit. So what happened there was what Basman really wanted to do was stall me out for a bit while also getting a little bit of SPP from passing every turn. But the problem is that the casualties happened faster than he thought were going to happen, so I could take someone out on my block, but also then take out someone on the foul. So he realized about turn 5 when he had lost about 3 or 4 guys, oh, I need to go score now. But because he had such high TV also from just how elves blow up and how I was missing the troll, I had a wizard, so when he double skulled on, I think, a blitzer and knocked himself out, it was just hit one guy, but also lightning bolt the guy before that, have the ball complete free, score in your half, and then he started his half with 6 players, 3 on the LOS, and then all 3 of them got stunned on the first turn, so there wasn't much he could do, and he kind of had to like limply watch as 11 Underworld players walked up the pitch and just completely shielded the ball.
Yeah, that'll do it to you. That will do it to you.
The Underworld have done everything they've needed to do these last 3 games, and I am over the moon.
I was going to say, you're making like a late... I don't know if you may have left it a little late, but you're making a charge towards the top half of the table, and that's not... that's not a terrible situation. I mean, 1460 is a pretty nice... We'll look at the team in a minute. But looking at the table itself, as you say, Muppetillo still the only unbeaten coach in the entire division.
I didn't realise how good Muppetillo was until, 1, I played him, and 2... I saw that he has the record for, I think, necromantic wins in a row.
Yeah.
I have no idea how good anyone is in this league. I thought I was going to be playing against some really top coaches. The only person I had any idea who they were was McNaughton, but that's just because he comes on Andy Darvis' stream to take the mickey out of him.
Yeah, I understand. No, Mupatillo was he was in last season's playoffs, in fact, and he's so he's made it to playoffs, so he's no joke, and he looks very, very likely. I find it hard to believe he's not going to take one of the two playing spots. I mean, I know McNugget and Lewis M are really close behind, with literally 1 point between the two of those, and they are both, 3 points and 4 points respectively behind Mupatillo. So I really think the next couple of weeks become every game is a must-win for these three guys.
Definitely, I do think unless Mupatillo's team has a meltdown and loses all three in a row, he'll certainly take one of the two spots. It seems a bit mad for him not to at this rate. He has a decent amount of cushion. I'm not sure how everyone's schedule lines up, so maybe there is no way for him to truly be toppled. And he's played all of his hard games anyway. He's now played Lewis, now played
McNugget and Lewis, interestingly, were the only games he didn't win. They were both of his draws, which is pretty interesting.
I expect the draw in terms of chores because that's two slow bash teams really hitting it out. But I suppose the draw at his level hurt him, but I don't think it's enough to stop the Orc.
Yeah, what it has done, I think, a little bit, is open the door for the next three teams, which is yourself, Yusarian, and Gremzilla, to be the real kind of dark horses for this. I'm not saying you've got a great chance, and I'm sorry to break it to you. You've got a really hard road.
I was getting delusions of grandeur until you had said that, Metal. So thanks for bringing me back down to.
No, but theoretically, with 12 points apiece, and Lewis only being sat on 16 points. I mean, you're only 4 points off of the third place, and therefore 5 points off of the second place. So if they do have some disasters, and any one of you three has just like the perfect win from here on out, technically, you may be in with a chance.
I don't want to obviously spoil what's going to happen in the three weeks for everyone, but I know that I do play one of the top three again, or one of the top three. So I have the chance to knock points off of them. I then also have chances to knock points off of now the bottom half of the table as well. So I like to say personally it's going to be tough, and it relies on the results going my own way. But yeah, now there is surprising tightness in the top half, I think.
Yeah, the bottom half, unfortunately, I think everyone below yourself are kind of done for in terms of hitting that playing window. And I think we've said it before, but I think we need to say it again. You need to play for development now and see where you're going to look next season, especially if you're the Nurgle team, because Nurgle are a 3-season team. Helgen, sorry mate, it's just what they do.
He's got the wins, so it's less demoralising.
He took a W home, so he's got something to show for the season.
Yeah, and against a team who, frankly, should outbash him half the time in Undead. So
I mean, I've flicked over to the Undead themselves, and the one thing that immediately jumps out is what he did to Pua Doom, which is a Pom White who is now niggled.
Yes.
So you keep it because it's too good to fire at this point, but it's not. It's a point of weakness on the team that is gonna suck. I think. I mean, if you're gonna recycle it, given that you're not making planes, I think this is the time you do that. But that's a hard call to make. That's a really, especially because he has no money in the bank because he had to buy a new ghoul because the ghoul got messed up too.
I wouldn't mind him just cutting it straight away. I know it's that's a Pom White, but I prefer the guard white a bit more. It has a bit more utility. You have still a lot of killing power elsewhere. Yes, you don't have piling on anymore, but you're not going to keep that for the next season. You're going to get rid of that. I guess you could try it for the next two games, but then again, who does he face in the next two games? He could face someone who really just uses that tiny weak point to take off a very important positional and make him play either with more zombies or like deny him inducements or.
I mean,
or
the thing is, with 10k in the bank, he's never affording a new white for at least 2 more games. So I think he can definitely set it for 1 because he's MNG with the niggle anyway. And then I think that's when he makes the tough decision: do I play without a white? I think you probably keep the Pom white just to try and get the numbers up, but you certainly don't. You try not to feed it SPP unless you can avoid it, and then cut it as soon as you can replace it. Would be my advice.
Yeah, I suppose, and also regen, so doesn't have Apo right on an undead team anyway. It could just come back every time it gets killed from the
regen, because it worked really well against that niggle, right?
yeah. I'm sure he's been lucky before though. So
checking in
human.
with the Crocodiles and D's. Once again, they have not leveled their remaining 3 Saurus. So really, the team is looking pretty much exactly the same. I do believe Donk finally leveled and got Guard, which is pretty awesome for a Croxigar. So that's this is a team that is definitely poised to do well next season, and especially. I think if Meshuggah starts looking towards the transfer market and the off-season open invitational, whatever we're running for that, to try and make up some cash, he might even be able to pick up a Saurus or 2 based on his performance here. So he might be able to cut, like, Nugget the rookie Saurus and buy one of the Sauruses off the market, which wouldn't necessarily be a terrible move.
Random Kazas on those last 2 Sauruses would be amazing. Also, all the Skinks are alive, which is amazing. Especially
his Skinks don't seem to die, which is impressive considering he's already lost to Crocs in at least 1 Saurus this season.
Oh yeah, Donk died in my game. I killed Donk, but luckily the Apo saved it. He could have been on Donk number 3, so.
Oof. Now, I remember Zamaji Severa looking pretty rough, and yeah. Checking in, we were going to talk about what the condition Nugget had left them in, and he's hurt them a little bit. He's dinged them up.
A little bit. Is that just an MG on the runner?
It is an MNG on the runner, so that's not too bad. And the rookie lineman is niggled and MNG'd, so I think he was niggled first, which staggers me that he was therefore allowed to play on the team. He needs to be cut. Like Zeleny Zamaj, just fire him. He's niggled.
Yeah, there's no point. There is no point. You might as well get the loner, because the loner still does the thing you want him to do anyway, quite effectively.
And he isn't niggled, so is it harder to remove?
Exactly.
I'm just glad that no one hurt Vodny Zamaj, because I really love this blodge Agi 4 Norse lineman that thinks he's a positional. It's so cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how long he survives, because I feel like apart from now that strength up Berserker he got last week, that's the only thing still that really has major Apo rights, because everything else is just kind of getting what it needs.
Well, he's in a world where he's potentially got a lineman with an Apo right, which is incredible to me. It's so good.
Is it incredible to you, or is it like a bit of an indictment on
what's left on the rest of the team? Yeah. Speaking of a team, what's left on the rest of the team, we've gone over to Rap Scallywags, and he's started to purge his minus movement players, but he's still got 3 minus movement players, including a minus movement Gutter Runner, which desperately is in need of firing, but he doesn't have the bank right now. And Slazy's brilliant, and Martial Splatters remains useless. He's got to get feed it touchdowns, please, Yusarian. Give Martial Splatters a chance, because it kind of hurts you having 1 useless Storm Vermin.
Yeah, like even if it's just his guard, it becomes a million times more useful, and you could make it just 2. You could make 2 killers, but definitely now that the really tough game of the Woodies have passed, where no longer is he worried about the handoff, just 1-9ing. Just focus on that, sorry, and I can't. Be one of the 3 who could get into the second plus.
Yeah, that's his problem, is that he can't do anything to cost him a game because he needs every win he can get. So it's interesting that he's going to try and feed it. Worst case scenario, he's got Vanilla Mice's grandson who's on 3 out of 6. So if you can get a TD on him, that's probably easier. And you're still getting some development out of it. But I would really like to see an attempt to level a Storm Vermin should the pitch situation be favourable enough to get away with it.
Yeah, this really has been a team where if it had shown up with all 4 gut runners at least having block or wrestle or something, and then Storm Vermin being pretty okay, it would have done a lot better than how it showed up in the league.
I think that's
Beginning
just
of
because
the
everything
season,
got
the
hurt.
two superstars. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously everything got hurt, but I feel like, especially in this sort of league, Skaven are a team which it prefers to be able to snowball early on rather than have to keep cutting players and just having one or two who are the brilliant pieces while everything else just die.
Yeah, that's very true. I kind of agree myself. And I mean, speaking of one or two brilliant pieces, McNugget's team is looking really good. Like, Buckfast Barnes is a claw pommer in his first season. So whichever division McNugget promotes to, whether he makes planes or not, wherever he gets promoted, they're going to be saying, "Hey, Tenor, thanks for this."
You say that, but Buckfast Barnes is useless. He couldn't Kaz a armor 6 goblin. He hit that thing and knocked it down 3 times, and he couldn't actually even break armor.
That's
He's
useless.
Incredible. He's been on. He's gained 6 SPP, I think, in 5 games. He's not that good.
Okay,
but
let me tell you a story from the history of Rebel about a certain team that I coach called the Green Bay Packmasters. Now, this was way before your time. We're talking season 4 of Rebel. We're in season 10
Ancient.
now, right? And I had a player, my Skaven Storm Vermin killer, Clawpom, tackle, and he'd had the worst season ever. He was completely useless all season. He was mocked roundly by the recap guys, which was me at the time, because I recapped the entire league with Gamba, the other head admin, and we mocked him, and the division mocked him, and the league mocked him, and then his final game before retirement, he hit the Mount Lamanai Coldbloods, coached by Kejaroos, and he exploded. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just all of the canned fury from the entire season of being mocked, but he killed literally half a lizard team on his own.
It's like those comics where it's like a nerdy guy gets sand kicked in the face by a bully, and it's like, you need to take this fitness program, and then you can kick sand in the face of bullies yourself, and that's what happened to bullied, downtrodden.
It was nuts. It was, I mean, literally, it was like, you're a Croxagore, now you're dead. You're a Strength 5 Saurus with this, and this, now you're dead. And he just went down the line, killing like a player every turn, and killing or Kaz a player every turn. It was an absolute bloodbath, and I'm warning you, if you keep telling Buckfast Barnes is useless, someone's going to be on the receiving end of a lot of pain.
Yeah, let's hope it's the Lizard team, because don't like those fellows. Don't like.
I mean, given again, right? Looking at the team itself, there's only actually one double and one start-up on the entire team, but it's still pretty solidly built. I would much love to have more guard.
There's 2. You said 2 doubles, right?
There's one double, and the guard on the Hobgoblin and the plus move on the Hobgoblin.
Buckfast Barnes is also a double.
Oh yeah, of course it is. You're right. Yeah, very true. I don't know. We were ignoring him because he's useless. Remember?
Oh, he's useless, of course. Yeah.
I still want him to get more guard. I think his next 2 blockers have to get guard when they level in 1 and 2 SPP. So that's 2 Kaz if they get lucky Kaz, and he could have 4 guard going in to the potential planes, which would be exactly where he'd want to be.
I'm sure that is his plan. I don't like the fact that he only has 2 guard, 1 an armor 7 piece, but hey, he's also second place in their eyes, so he knows what he's doing, evidently.
Don't tell him that. Don't ever tell him that. That's against the
rules.
Yeah,
don't praise the machine.
Right. Looking into the next team, thank you, parents, and not thanking anyone for the 2 MNG players, but they are only MNG, and I'm not thanking him because he's left Dr. Uhurt unleveled, which annoys the bejesus out of me. I know why he's doing it. It's all mind games, or he doesn't know what skill to take. But if it's a normal, it's dodge, so it's not that hard. You're a dark elf.
If it's a stab or a double, then fair enough. But that has to have dodge. I think the lack of lodge really hurt him, at least in my game, because I had no tackle whatsoever. And
but it's okay because he only has like 1 blodger or 2 blodgers, so it's not too bad. No.
Yeah, exactly. That's the issue for him. That's the issue. He really needs the extra dodge. And also for play, although his season hasn't gone that well, at the very least, all of his good players are intact. They aren't niggled, they aren't armored down, etc.
Yeah, he's got 11 players that are going to go into next season. So far, unless something horrible happens in the last few weeks, please don't let it happen now. I would feel terrible.
But, yeah, don't let it happen, guys.
He's got a good witch elf with Mighty Blow. By the by, if it's a double, it's guard because you need guard, and you've already got Mighty Blow. If it's a normal, it's dodge because blodge on a blitz is super good, and if it's a stat, pretty much always take the stat because Dark Elves love stat ups. So it's not really that hard of a decision, in my mind.
He really does need either guard or dodge, because dodge as well allows him to be bashy, and he does play a very bashy style, but the issue is that although he has 3 tackle, and he has block on those blitzers, and all that, he has the bashy skills, he doesn't have a lot of the survivability that most Dark Elf coaches can have with the dodge, allowing them to take the hits as well as dish them out.
Yeah, that's what gives them the durability. It's not the AV8, it's the fact that they have to get knocked down first. Looking at the next team that does have all the durability in the world, I mean, it lost a Pestigore, so he's got a rookie Pestigore, but he also has got a Claw Mighty Blow Pestigore now, he's got a Block Mighty Blow Warrior, he's got block on 2 of his other warriors. I still hate the wrestle, right? I still really hate the wrestle. But this is a Nurgle team finally going the right direction. It's taken him a little bit of time. I desperately want to see him get some dirty player. But and the good thing about wrestle is if you level him up a second time, you can still take dirty player, right?
Yeah, you can either have 2 Rackle pieces. You can either have a Rackle piece or turn it into a dirty player. I think that when you put a dirty player and have an 80k dirty player piece, it's not the worst thing in the world. I would still think about maybe buying just more rotters and then giving them either dirty player or block. Some people like having wrestle on the rosters, but I still think block would have been a better choice.
You don't buy rotters, you take them from other people. That's the joy of rotters. You take them, you reach out and you pluck them away from other coaches.
You could do that, or you could buy the next rotter super.
Yeah, well, maybe. Now, we're moving on to Lushem, who we all hate because he's a Dice Lord, but actually a really lovely guy. Dice Lord.
Oh yeah, lovely bloke. I told him that I was going to casual with his players. I say that lovingly, I promise.
Yeah, Nugget is super happy with that statement, by the way. He was like, I like this guy, he's gonna kill all of Lush's players. And I was like, are you sure? Because we've heard this before.
We've heard this before, but look at all the Kaz's and chaos I caused in my last 3 games, and I think I now have the trust to say.
So what we're saying is, this is a nice team. It could probably do well in Plains, assuming any of it is going to be alive. However, yes, it's a really nice team. Actually, the more he turns up, right, the more I really like Tribien. And I hate saying this because I hated it at first because it was a Kislev Blitzer with wrestle, but wrestle tackle on a player that has jump up and diving tackle, and leap and very long. It's actually really good. It's.
Yeah, I do think it's really good, and I think 7 movement, very useful. It flies in the face of conventional Kislev builds, because usually I just like to have a bunch who are either straight killers, or you give them the block, dodge, sidestep, and that kind of thing. It has done him really well, I have to admit. His blitz is also really peachy, especially at this stage of development.
Yeah, he's got a really good team. I really like the development on this team. It's definitely unusual, and I still hate I hate block on the lineman. I will always hate block on the lineman because Kislev linemen are much better with wrestle, but whatever. We're going to move on because I've said it before enough times that we don't need me to say it again. We're looking at your team now, and it's looking good. I'm not going to lie. I have to have a question, right? And I kind of think I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I've seen footage picking up guard as a second skill and not tentacles.
Yeah, here's the whole reason I did that. I personally think that I would rather have a bashing dimension to my game that can stand up in certain pockets of the pitch with that guard as an assist, more so than, say, dealing with elf coaches or anyone who uses stunty pieces, for example. Also, pick that in mind, knowing who am I going to be playing in the next few games. I'm going to be playing Horde Horde Master, I'm going to be playing the Norse as well, T-Cold, who either have a guard themselves or have no guard whatsoever.
But lots of strength.
So
Yeah, no, it makes you know what, right? It makes a lot of sense, and I do understand because I've played them myself, and I have to say, getting guard is so hard. It's like getting tackle on Nurgle. You need it, but where do you put it? Because everyone else has either no access or such specialized skill sets. It's really difficult to just pick up what is quite. The other thing, black quarterback, the block tackle thrower, is a bit of a choice.
Yeah. I know that sort of like it's a bit crazy that your throwing piece has block and tackle, but think of it less as this man is the thrower and this man is your 3 strength still.
Yeah.
You need them to be hitting or being viable in hitting as much as possible. I know that the next skill on my other blitzer is going to be guard probably. And the linesmen, when I first picked the tackle, weren't looking so juicy. They weren't looking that good. It would take quite a few handoffs and MVPs to get them to be rackable.
Hey, Dilemma's looking pretty good. Dilemma's looking pretty solid now.
He picked up the MVP last game, so now he solves the rackle problem that I need. But I wouldn't regret putting those skills on black quarterback. I still think that you might as well make all of your 3 strength pieces, apart from the single ball, also rolled amazingly well this week. Might as well make them all kind of hitting.
I understand. I get where you're coming from. There's definitely a logic. Now, we're going to move over to Basman's Grob, and we're running over on time already, so we're going to hustle through this. He's got guard on I Look After Orphans, which is awesome. I don't think he had that before. I like guard wherever you can get it. Although, I think I might have took Mighty Blow, personally.
On what I'll catch it.
Yeah. 8 movement Mighty Blow players are awesome.
True. Yeah, I also... These guys are going to be running away and playing quite loose and not that bashy anyway. So why not make someone who's really good at like precision hitting rather than...
it's like a surgery. You understand this with your Skaven Blitzers. One of the advantages is they're really killy and really fast.
Exactly, yeah.
And this is not as killy, but even faster. So
exactly, yeah.
It's got potential, is what I'm saying. Although on the whole, like I say, it's a team that's developing nicely. Definitely looking towards next season. Got a couple of startups which he could start to utilize in interesting and fun ways. Sorry, I'm speeding through it now because I'm conscious of the length of the video. So Muppetillo's team didn't really get anything out of last game, but nothing died either. So it's exactly the same as last time, and it's still really strong. It's a good looking team, to be honest.
Solid, uncompromising, and a fantastic blitzer to boot.
Yeah, the Zeus 2 is really good. If he piles on, I want to see what Gremzilla got, because Gremzilla scored a lot of touchdowns this week. So I'm hoping to get into this and see some development. And I don't know where he put the touchdowns. Oh, he's got block. He's got block on his tree. Oh, that's amazing. Block grab is so good.
He's also picked up Shurfy on the good catcher, partially because he fell down on the touchdown line, I think. He's like, I'm going to repeat that whole debacle again.
Yeah, Spirit Stone Red pulled a massive 9 SPP out of last game. So yeah, he's definitely not going to roll any more ones. Both ward answers are basically perfect, with Mighty Blow tackle and Strip Ball tackle. And block grab on a Treeman's immense. The only thing he's really missing is kind of like a stat up here or there. You know, if you could get like a movement up on one of these catches or an agi up on one of these catches, a couple of doubles maybe for some guard in places. But I mean, you're looking at like quality of life stuff, because this is a really nice Wood Elf team.
And it still has not 11 men, but a pretty decent amount of linesmen who aren't loners. So, well done, Gremzilla. You've survived the hardest part of play.
Hardest part of the situation is keeping players alive to have 11 men. I mean, Wood Elf loners are brilliant. All they do is stand next to the tree on the LOS and get hit anyway. So it's okay not having 11, you know. But the ones that he's got are good. So it's good. I like it. He's doing well.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and that's that. So we're going to look at who's playing who this week, and then we'll call it a day. So thank you, parents, for taking on 2 thin coats. Now, I have a feeling that once again we're talking tooth and courts. If they want to keep this push going, they have. It's a must-win. They have to.
Yeah, definitely. And I would want to be bold and say that I think Grimzilla might take this against the Dark Elves because he can score faster. He doesn't mind scoring fast. He can really take advantage of everything that goes wrong for the Dark Elves, and they can't respond in kind.
That being said, Thank You Parents does have about 3 tackle players, although I think one of them's MNG at the moment. So still got about 2 tackle on the pitch, which does render War Dancers kind of scary to use aggressively, which might be enough to slow down, if not stop Tooth and Courts, especially if he gets a Rando Kaz from one of those tackle hits. You know, it could affect the entire course of the game.
Definitely, yeah. If the bash game works, the bash game will work, but...
Yeah, I'm just saying, Tooth and Courts can't take this... You know, this is the point of the season where you don't take any match as an easy win. You sit on every game and go, I have to play my very best because I can't afford silly mistakes.
And also, Dark Elves are due for a win.
Yeah, they are. They're hungry for it at this point because they are the only team in the division without a win behind the belt. They've got 4 draws, and they're just looking to convert one of those, you know, future draws into a win. Now, exactly. Speaking of a game that's got draw written all over it, my God, Nurgle versus Chaos Dwarves literally has draw written all over it, unless one side's Mighty Blow Claw does something.
I'm gonna be bold as well and say I hope, not I hope, also I think that maybe Helgen could pick this up. Maybe.
That Claw Mighty Blow Pestigore has to do a ton of work. And Claw Mighty Blow isn't as good as Claw Palm.
Very true, yeah. In terms of stats, in terms of level ups and that kind of thing, in terms of overall composition of the team, it goes way more towards the guard and the overall development of McNaughton's team. But at the same time, we will have to cheer for the Nurgle. They got their first win, massive confidence boost. They're on high morale.
Yeah, I agree that this is definitely one to watch, but I don't think it's Game of the Week. And the reason for that is I'm coming to what I think is Game of the Week next, which I hate to do it 2 weeks on a row, but I think this next one, Cirque de Laws versus Rap Scallywags, is Game of the Week material, because you can never count Skaven out, ever. And you just can't count Lewis out, because he's hungry for it, he's desperate for the wins to keep himself in playoff contention. He's only got that point between him and Nugget at this point. He can't lose.
Who do you think? Who do you think will win?
I want to give it to the Skaven because Yossarian's no joke. I really like Skaven secretly, but I don't know. I've learned long ago when starting these recaps never to bet against Lewis.
Yeah, the Dice Lord striketh always and without any mercy. I also give it to the Skaven though because just a bit faster, just a bit more edge, and also Slazy is a monster and could very well do Lewisham the dirty.
I reckon Slazy is going to kill a bear, and I reckon it's going to be a moral victory that's going to potentially destabilize Lewisham's train of thought.
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, the bear's useless, so...
Yeah, well,
blow. It's blow. Think of it as blow.
You'd be doing him a favour, really, but that's not the point. Right, yourself, I almost know who you're going to bet, but you're playing some very dinged-up Norse. What do you think? And remembering that you can't afford to lose. No pressure. You can't afford to lose.
I don't want to be too bold, because what happens if Norse just Kaz armor 7? It can swing. I know I've got a very healthy team, got a massive bench, he has to play with 2 loners, but he gets inducements. Armor 7 can completely fall apart. I'm going to say I win because I want to win.
But if Armor 7 falls apart, Armor 7 can fall apart on either side of the pitch. There's a ton of Armor 7 on this pitch. Everyone's bringing Armor 7, apart from...
I have Stunty and also hit block on pretty much everything.
It's the block. It's the block that gets you every time. Because suddenly goblins aren't as reliable at not being knocked on their ass.
But then again, I have a 6 armor Rattle Goblin, so balls never safe.
Maybe his point is invalid.
Exactly. You can't both down that goblin. That one will survive.
Right, looking forward. I think I'm going to give it to you just because I think your team has the edge. Your killer's better. That's one thing that Zamaji Savara is missing is their killers just are non-starters at the moment. They've had a rough season, so
Yeah.
I feel like you're going to bully them, and I feel like it's mean, and you should feel bad, but you also shouldn't feel that bad because you cannot afford to lose. Have I said that enough times?
I can't. I'm gonna have to stomp. I'm gonna have to stomp every single turn. I'm so sorry, T Cold, but I'm gonna kill something.
Right, Crocodile Dundee's versus maybe a season. Meshuggah is a damn good coach. I've played Meshuggah. He's incredibly good, but he's not had the results to back that up. He's starting to get them, but I think he's had a bit of a rough spot in this season. I don't know if he doesn't play Lizards very much, or I don't know what's going on there, but I kind of want to give it to him simply because I know what he's capable of. And I feel bad saying that because maybe a season not having their best season. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think I'm giving it to the Lizards.
I'm going to give it to the... Well, actually, I think I'll give it to Basman's just because I think Basman's a good coach. And also, really, one thing that Crocodile Dundee's will rely on is the tackle Saurus. If that hits and that does very well, perfect, fine. But I think that he generally can do it, Basman. I think he can do it. He has the speed. So I will give it to the Elves this one time.
Okay, well, like I said, Basman's is also a lovely dude, so I wouldn't... they're both lovely fellas, and it's a horrible picking when that's the situation. Although most of this division I think we've got a really good, solid, friendly division this season, which I'm pretty... I
love this division, and everyone in it.
Right, and finally, I mean, once again, he has to win. So it's Organudo's BBC
has to win
versus the Damned Horde, and the Damned Horde are missing their Pommer, which is the worst thing you can possibly say when your opponent is an Orc team, because Orc armor is 9 across the board, apart from Throw, who you never get to punch. So if you don't have piling on, suddenly it becomes very, very dicey. And he doesn't have Dirty Player, which I still think is a mistake. If he had a couple of Dirty Players, he could really threaten this Orc team.
Yeah, really, what it will come down to for Horde Master is, do the mummies hold up, yes or no? The mummies don't hold up, then with the tar pit of the zombies...
But the thing with the mummies, they don't even need to not be attacked at some point, because if Muppetillo can get a couple of linemen just to sit next to the mummies and go, "Hi, I'm AV9, what's your problem?" I mean,
yeah,
you're going, "I've got to find a Mighty Blow, I've got to break armor on my mummy's stuck, I've got to break armor on them," and it becomes that every turn. You're throwing dice, praying for a break to try and find a world where you free up the mummy.
It just won't. It can come, but it also might not come. But really, because that's the main strength of the team, I definitely think that the Orc and Undead matchup, if those mummies just get stranded somewhere, especially without now that Pommer White, the Undead can be really bullied here. So I would personally give it to Muppetillo, strength of team and matchup, but also results as well.
And yeah, coach strength as well. Muppetillo is a force to be reckoned with, and he is not, like I say, he's unbeaten at the moment. It's not like he's not set on 8 wins, he's on 6-2-0, but he has never been beat. And that's not something he wants to give up. So he's not going to give it up easy.
I'd like to keep winning and winning for Muppetillo, but that's me.
Yeah, I'm sure you want to see him lose because that gives you a better chance of getting in there. Although, like we said, Muppetillo probably, I think he's about 80% sure that he's going to Plains.
Yeah, he's probably through.
It's getting exciting, and I'm super happy for that because it's been a really close division, actually, surprisingly so. Anyway,
it's creeped up on you. It's creeped up on you.
We're super over time. We're like 44 minutes, and it's normally 30. So one of us is talking too much. I don't know who it is. I'm not putting any blame on anyone. It's blatantly not me. It's been a genuine pleasure, dude. Thank you very much for hopping in and having a chat. I have very much enjoyed myself.
Thank you.
And everyone, this was not Basman's Gob. It was Chug Manmilk. I don't know why I was thinking Basman's Gob. Jesus Christ!
No.
I was going to say Botswana. I was going to go with Botswana, and you need one name. You only need one name. Stop it.
Just call me Chug.
Chug Manmilk, the fake English McNugget. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. You all stay classy. Good luck in your games. We will see you next week. And also, if you haven't already signed up, Cripple Cup is on Saturday. You really only got a couple. You really got by the time you listen to this, you should be signing up because it's going to have happened otherwise. So If you've got the Saturday off, go play. See you next week, guys.